let's talk about conflict. Conflict is something that almost none of us would say that we enjoy. We all experience some sort of conflict almost every day, yet we never really want to deal with it head on. And this is no different in the church setting either, as conflict happens more in ministry than just about any other setting. So today, I want us to grow in our understanding of conflict and learn how we can better respond when conflict does arise, because it's coming. To begin with, we need to understand that conflict is not a bad thing, and it's not sin. There's nothing inherently wrong with conflict or sinful about it. We see several examples in the book of Acts, actually, that show us conflict in the early church and how it was resolved. We see Paul and Barnabas have a serious disagreement about whether or not they should take Mark with them on their upcoming missionary journey. In Acts 15, at the Jerusalem Council, that the church had disagreements about what to do about the Gentiles and how they were to live and function in the church. And we see that they came to resolution there as well. So conflicts are neither good or bad. It just depends on how we respond to them. Conflicts can be good, and even great things can happen as a result of conflict. And here's several reasons. First, when conflict is handled properly, it leads to much growth. It leads to growth for the pastor or the leader who is learning how to handle the situation. It leads to growth for the members within the church or the group that have the dispute or disagreement among themselves. See, the conflict is rarely about the issue at hand, but it normally reveals something deeper going on. The real issue is not the style of worship or the color of the carpet, but these surface level issues often reveal deeper heart issues that wouldn't have been revealed without the disagreement. So, in that way, we're grateful for conflict, as it exposes these areas within ourselves and others, and it gives us a chance to shepherd and walk through these issues together. So, as the members of our congregation are growing as we properly handle this conflict, we are going to be getting stronger as a whole. When the individual members of the body are healthy, the body as a whole is healthy. And so conflict can act as a doorway to this health. We see that conflict can actually lead to great growth within you as a leader, as the individual members, and as the entire body. But we need to be able to properly handle it. So, in order to see that it builds up instead of tearing down, here are some more practical things that I believe we can do to handle conflict better. First, we need to remove the logs out of our own eyes in order to see the specks that are in the eyes of others. And this is what Jesus tells us to do in the Sermon on the Mount. If we start with openness and transparency ourselves, this will lead to an environment of openness among the others involved in the conflict. When we're quick to admit our shortcomings, others will see this and will take the same attitude. Second, we need to become better listeners. We need to hear out the concerns of others and make sure we properly understand all sides of a dispute before we're able to properly lead and guide them. A specific way to do this is called active listening, which includes both verbal and nonverbal responses, as well as signs of real empathy and emotion from us as a listener. Finally, we must realize that the gospel itself, it's a story of reconciliation between God and man. And now, we're given the ministry of reconciliation ourselves. So, our conflict resolution must begin and end with the gospel. Without it, it will never work. We should seek to be those that make peace, for they will be the ones that are blessed, not the ones who stir up divisions and who sow discord. We need to strive for unity in the body. Sometimes, though, that means we must step in and say something, not being afraid of conflict, but understanding the value that it can possess when it's properly dealt with. So I don't think we should ever get to the place where we love conflict or we just can't wait to have a hard conversation with somebody. We shouldn't love disagreement and division. But when we learn how to properly handle these situations of conflict, I believe it actually leads us to grow stronger and will become more unified. So I hope today that this encourages you not to run away from conflict, but to see it as a good thing when we tackle it head on with the guidance of the Holy Spirit.